The Testament Season 1, Episode 8, Daisy's Revenge Against Dr. Grove, just started, and Gilead should be terrified. There's a moment at the end of Episode 8 of The Testaments that changes everything. It lasts only a few seconds. Agnes is sitting in the garden with Daisy after revealing the truth about Dr. Grove. The air is quiet, no music, no screaming, no dramatic confrontation. But then Daisy's face changes, and suddenly you realize something horrifying. Dr. Grove made the biggest mistake of his life, because Agnes didn't tell another broken girl. She told someone capable of burning Gilead to the ground. And Episode 8 secretly transforms Daisy from an undercover survivor into something far more dangerous, a weapon. The scariest part, Dr. Grove has absolutely no idea what's coming. This entire episode feels like Gilead standing on top of a ticking bomb without hearing the clock. At first, Broken pretends to be about weddings, engagements, and girlhood traditions. The commanders celebrate, families smile, cakes are tasted, dresses are discussed. But underneath all of it, the girls are psychologically collapsing, and Daisy sees all of it. She watches Agnes slowly die inside after getting engaged to Commander Weston. She watches Becca force herself to smile while marrying Garth. She watches Shunammite panic over possibly being barren. Then she discovers the ugliest truth of all. The girls are not being protected. They're being fed to predators, and Dr. Grove is proof of it. What makes Dr. Grove so terrifying isn't just what he did, it's how comfortable he is doing it. Think about that scene at the engagement party. He walks directly toward Agnes and Hulda with confidence, calm, relaxed, smiling. He knows they're afraid of him. And worse, he knows the system will protect him. That tiny line, I'll be seeing you both soon, feels almost demonic after what we've learned, because he isn't hiding anymore. He's taunting them. That's what finally breaks something inside Daisy. And the brilliance of Episode 8 is that Daisy's revenge doesn't begin with violence. It begins with rage. Real rage. Not the dramatic action movie kind. The terrifying kind that grows quietly when someone realizes evil people never suffer consequences. Daisy came into Gilead believing she understood how evil this place was. But until now, most of her mission has been strategic, observational, controlled. Episode 8 destroys that control completely, because this time the victim isn't some distant handmaid story from the past. It's Agnes, and for the first time, Daisy emotionally connects to someone inside Gilead instead of just studying them. That changes the mission entirely. When Agnes hands Daisy the menstrual pads in secret, the scene feels small on the surface. But emotionally, it's one of the biggest moments in the season, because Agnes is risking herself to protect Daisy. Inside Gilead, trust is dangerous, and Daisy realizes something heartbreaking in that moment. These girls are surviving by protecting each other because nobody else will. Not the ants, not the commanders, nobody, especially not after Hulda reports Dr. Grove. That scene with Aunt Vidala is honestly one of the most infuriating scenes in the entire series. Hulda is shaking, traumatized, terrified, and instead of helping her, Vidala practically buries her alive emotionally. You're confused. It's your imagination. You must never repeat this. That's not justice, that's institutional violence. And the show makes something brutally clear here. Gilead does not fear abusive men. It fears exposed abusive men. That's why Dr. Grove remains protected. Because if one respected man falls, then the illusion of moral purity starts collapsing too. And Daisy sees through all of it instantly. That's why the ending feels so dangerous. Notice how Agnes narrates it. She doesn't say Daisy wanted justice. She says she didn't know what Daisy was going to do. That wording matters, because even Agnes, who barely understands rebellion, realizes Daisy's anger has crossed into something darker, something unpredictable. And honestly, the episode gives us several clues that Daisy may already be planning revenge before the credits even roll. Look at her conversation with Garth outside the engagement party. Garth tells her there's no easy way out, no rescue mission, no magical ending. You wanted to destroy Gilead. That line hits Daisy differently after learning about Dr. Grove, because suddenly destroying Gilead stops being political. It becomes personal. And here's the hidden detail most viewers missed. Daisy stops talking like a frightened undercover girl after Agnes confesses the truth. Her tone changes completely. Earlier in the episode, she's scared about getting her period because it means she could be married off. She feels trapped, but after learning what happened to Agnes and Hulda, fear disappears. That's important because The most dangerous version of Daisy is not scared Daisy. It's focused Daisy, the kind willing to ruin herself if it means hurting the people protecting monsters. And honestly, episode 8 quietly suggests Daisy may go far beyond exposing Dr. Grove. She may try to destroy everyone connected to him, including the system itself. Remember, Daisy comes from outside Gilead. Unlike Agnes or Hulda, she still understands what normal morality looks like. So when she sees victims blaming themselves for assault, it horrifies her in a completely different way. Hulda genuinely believes she sinned. That scene destroys Daisy emotionally because it proves Gilead isn't just abusing girls physically, it's rewriting their minds. And once Daisy understands that, revenge stops being enough. Now she wants punishment. That final line from Agnes, "Never trust a f***ing Pearl girl," feels almost prophetic because Daisy was trained to infiltrate systems, to manipulate, to survive. But Gilead accidentally pushed her too far emotionally. Now the mission is no longer controlled. Now it's emotional warfare, and that could become catastrophic for everybody, especially Aunt Lydia, because Lydia believes she can manage the situation quietly. She tells Agnes that Dr. Grove will be dealt with, but she speaks carefully, indirectly, almost politically. But Daisy doesn't operate like Lydia. Lydia survives through patience. Daisy survives through disruption. That difference is critical. One wants controlled justice. The other may want destruction. And honestly, the episode subtly hints Daisy could expose Dr. Grove publicly in a way Gilead cannot contain. Imagine the fallout if multiple girls speak at once. Imagine if the wives hear. Imagine if the Marthas hear. Imagine if the younger girls realize they're not alone. That's the real threat. Not Dr. Grove's crimes themselves. The possibility that victims stop staying silent. That's why episode 8 feels less like setup and more like the beginning of a rebellion. And what makes it emotionally devastating is that Agnes accidentally triggered it. She tells Daisy the truth because she needs comfort, support, understanding, but she may have unknowingly unleashed the one person reckless enough to actually retaliate. And the tragic irony? Daisy's revenge might save the girls while simultaneously destroying her own mission. Because if she acts emotionally instead of strategically, Mayday could collapse around her. That's what makes the ending genius. You leave the episode excited, but also terrified. Terrified because Daisy finally understands Gilead completely now. Not intellectually, emotionally. She's felt the fear, the control, the silence, the helplessness. And once someone like Daisy stops fearing Gilead, the regime has a real problem because revolutions don't usually begin with armies. They begin with one person deciding they've suffered enough. By the final seconds of episode 8, Daisy looks exactly like that person. Not a Pearl girl, not an undercover operative, not a frightened teenager, a storm. And somewhere inside Gilead, Dr. Grove is still walking around believing he escaped consequences once again, smiling, protected, untouchable. But episode 8 quietly tells us something terrifying. The girls are no longer breaking alone. They're breaking together. And when broken people finally stop obeying, Gilead burns.